Okay, so today is another day, and today we're discussing issues that really concerns life, you and I, humanity, everything to do with medicine, health, just your way of life, your living style, and all of that. But it's one very dangerous viral disease that's beginning to scare the world. We're not here to scare you, we're here to sensitize your mind about how to prepare for the unexpected. May God not let us face an unexpected that we cannot control. Ebola virus, Ebola disease. What is it? My goodness. First time I heard that there was something called Ebola disease that can, once it affects you, it can kill within hours, maybe minutes. We don't know. It can be that bad. And it says highly contagious. One of the deadliest diseases in the world. In fact, let me just read a piece, and I will credit Tribune for this. Ebola virus is one of the world's most deadly diseases. It is a highly infectious virus that can kill up to 75% of the people who catch it, causing terror among infected communities. However, experts say a lot can be done to prevent contracting the infection. Let me stop there because I have an expert in the studio. He's a medical practitioner. He's a medical doctor, there is. And I have someone who has carefully, dutifully followed the trail of this news that has been breaking. And I just had to beg her to please come and join us. Just let's share, our minds, information, and how to deal with the situation. And first, let me recognize and welcome the doctor. His name is Dr. Kayode Adeshola. So, Dr. K, you're welcome to the program. And Dr. K is, apart from being a general practitioner, is also the General Secretary of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. The acronym is very long, so let me not go further than that. He's the Secretary General, and he's the man who has kindly agreed to just share his knowledge and his colleagues' knowledge, or the industry knowledge about Ebola virus. And we also have, not a doctor this time, but a great lady who actually drew my attention to this. You see, sometimes we are fake Facebook friends, but there are notable Facebook friends who just do the best for us. And this is Chinedu Okpaleke. Thank you so much. You've been so kind to, share this concern with us. And you drawing attention to the fact that we needed to look into it brought us all together. And I want to thank you and God bless you for that. And you also connected me to Dr. K that you haven't even met before. Now that's interesting, you see, which means you're a good researcher. Well, Dr. K, how are you? Can I ask you what Ebola is about, in actual fact?
Ebola virus disease, as it's been discussed now, it's one of those viral diseases we see around. They come like in spurts, call them in endemic areas where they are just flaring up and then begin to devastate in terms of killing human beings. How do they come? I think in the past we've had a few of these Ebola virus outbreak, how we put it. Traditionally, it used to be like around Central Africa.
Okay.
But in the past few months, we've been having a lot of outbreak from some West African countries, talking about Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. And it's really very ravaging presently. A lot of people are dying. From the latest report, we have about 467. That's about 5 days back, which is telling us that now it could be more than that.
Wow. And, is it easily containable?
Yes, it's not easily containable. The problem is because of the way it is contagious.
Yes.
Almost everybody coming in contact with whoever has been infected is also at risk. It's normally contacted through any form of the body fluid. Once you
any form of the body fluid?
Body fluid could be blood, could be
spittle,
could be your
urine,
sputum, any of the body fluid. Once you come in contact with it.
So somebody who has a cold is in trouble.
Yes, and then you're talking about within 13 to 25 days, somebody could be contact it, and then you may not see anything, you may not know anything that this neighbor is already harboring something dangerous, a killer disease. He
behaves normal.
We talk about incubation period, during which it begins to grow in that person until it gets to the stage when it can then start infecting other people. So it takes about 13 to 25 days, depending on individuals.
So, but when it becomes known, that's when it breaks out. After the incubation period,
you know through the symptoms how the person is, affected. Some of those symptoms you could have like sudden onset of fever in that person. It could be, vomiting. There could be headache. Normally we have accompanying joint pains, muscle pains.
They're almost like normal symptoms.
Yes, that's why we have to be very, very sensitive to all these things. Normally it graduates from that to the episode of vomiting, diarrhea, and then the most dreaded part of it is when you have these bleeding tendencies, both internally and externally. When I say internally, like somebody, for instance, somebody that's prone to ulcer, something that quietly bleeds at very, very minimal quantity of blood. But somebody that has this, it's a kind of provocation of that bleeding. So the person begins to pour inside. So it gets weak and get dehydrated. The body fluid becomes depleted, and confusion and other things setting.
Well, now, what triggered your curiosity? I'm just curious.
Well, I'd received some updates from some of the foreign media, online outlets, about this virus. I think from as far back as April. And what caught my attention was, the fact that some of the symptoms they listed were like everyday symptoms, something like flu-like symptoms, malaria, fever, So I was a bit curious, as to why we've not had anything about such an outbreak here.
Yes. Okay.
That was in April. But then after that, I did a small update, which I circulated among my friends.
Yes.
And subsequently, several weeks ago, I noticed some further updates, and this time there were more, and they were more regular, coming, almost back to back.
Okay.
So I, curious, I became curious. I started wondering, because in the past, I think we have a national orientation agency.
Yes.
In the past you hear radio jingles.
Sensitizing people.
Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Either on TV, on radio, even maybe bills that will be posted along the streets.
Yes.
But, it's like, it got me thinking, and I realized that over the years, some of these things have stopped. And, in connection with this particular situation, there is no such thing. And, that got me worried, really. Okay. So, initially I did an update, on my Facebook page.
Yes.
And, told some of my doctor friends to also, chip in some advice, let people know, what to watch out for, and possibly preventive measures. So, they came in and did that. And I noticed a lot of people were interested, in that update. Some were actually sharing too, and some were asking for more information.
Okay. Okay, now we're taking a short break, and we're discussing Ebola. The Ebola virus. Our prayer is that it shouldn't get to us. But sometimes we don't want to be carried away by that feeling of denial that we are sometimes accused of, seeing or expressing by ourselves, by Nigerians generally. Now, Dr. Adeshola, Chinedu said something just now, and I was watching your face. Now, is there enough sensitization going on?
Well, I don't want to say there's been enough, but the government at virtually every level, talking about the federal government, actually through the Federal Ministry of Health, the Lagos State Ministry of Health, and the local government. They are reaching out. So I'm talking to you now. I have a poster in my hospital that was given by the Lagos State Ministry about Ebola, what to watch out for and what to do, how to quickly raise alarm, as in get to the nearest health center and inform them, and they transmit that to the epidemiology center of the state ministry. I also want to remind us that this, because of the seriousness with which government is taking this matter, all the West African ministers met in Ghana this week.
Okay, including the Nigerian minister?
Yes, because of Ebola virus.
Hallelujah.
Palaver.
Thank God for that.
So it will be wrong for me to say they are not. Already the sensitization is ongoing.
So it's our duty as radio and TV stations.
Thank you very much to provide the platform and the support for the people, so that people out there can get more aware of this and know what to do and to seek medical attention.
But there's something I am worried about, arising from the notoriety of perception that, we have as Nigerians. Usually accusations come from just common people like you and I, that when you get to the hospital, there are certain conditions. In case you go to a private hospital, for example, and there's an emergency situation, oftentimes private hospitals are accused of insisting on down payment, before any treatment or any first aid is undertaken. What do you have to say about that? Yeah,
with a situation like this is something where everybody must have their hands on deck. It is not about money this time around. Even we, the medical practitioners, we are also exposed. We are at risk. Our own blood brothers and sisters are also out there exposed. Now, I want to make it categorically clear that in the recent years, having the Secretary General of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners for the past 2 years plus now, and also a member of the National Executive Council of NMA. Okay. So the in thing now is like, you go ahead, institute treatment, whosoever is working. The only problem we're having is like with the National Health Bill that said any emergency brought to any hospital, either private or government, should be attended to. And we at our level, I'm the National Secretary of my association. It's about 70% in terms of capacity in NMA. So we form the bulk. And the circulation the circular has been passed around, especially directly from my office, that all private hospitals must attend to all emergencies at all times. But the Nigerian community should also look at it. We are attending to emergencies. But who picks our bills? There are some emergencies you could attend to under 10,000 naira. There are some that within 2-3 hours, you could spend more than 200,000. You deploy your facilities and other things. Just 3 days ago, I got an emergency. A man was knocked down by a vehicle, and I had to call 2 other doctors to join me in order to keep this man alive. That was an emergency. At that point, nobody was talking of money. If one of the doctors who was on strike from last week, a senior consultant surgeon, had to join me. He has never been paid anything, and I don't think we are going to be paid. So it is not often true. And I want to say to the public, if we have at any point in time any doctor turning down an emergency situation, let us know. I can give my number. I'm for the whole country, the national secretary, and our state branch here in Lagos is one of the most vibrant. So we know what we are talking about. But people like you, sir, should help us to tell them that when the national bill has been put together and they are saying no doctor must turn back, then who picks our bills? We are ready to cooperate, but somebody must pick our bills for things to flow well. Okay.
Chinedu, do you have any comment on that?
Okay, well, I'm wondering if some of the doctors have, because I happen to know that, some of the perhaps international medical organizations, they provide funds, perhaps grants for, things like this. When you have an epidemic in any part of the world, you can perhaps apply for some of these grants, which make the work easier rather than waiting for who will fund.
But the problem is, how is that grant monitored? How is it utilized?
Well, I think they have they have checks and balances for these things, you know.
Well, the checks and balances have not been effective. That is the truth. Just in the last maybe a couple of years, about 5 years now, that the USAIDs, the UKs, and all the rest of them that are big funders, the Bill Gates, are beginning to try to access the private practitioners directly. Because they've come to find out that most of the time they bring these aids and they give them to the government. Government don't throw them, you know, they don't allow them to pass to the private sector, and these are the people that handle the bulk of the people. They are the ones that really that deliver. There's no village in this country where you don't have a private practitioner. In Lagos State, with their latest report from their own data research work, they just gave us 90% of health delivery in Lagos State being provided by the private sector. And that's very significant.
That was Lagos State.
Lagos State, their own data, not we, because we used to claim 70%. 70, 75, but they came up about 2 months ago. We met at last Saturday. So this is very, you can't ignore 90% and be dealing with 10. But we thank God that the United States Aids for International Development, the UK's and all, they are now telling us we want to deal with you directly. Whatever we want to give to aid, we want to give to you directly. That is what is on now.
Now, you see, I'm handling a delicate topic of Ebola virus in Nigeria. Then, of course, I know the doctors' NMA is on strike, and that's a very serious issue. And I've been asking my conscience, which is more important? Frankly speaking, they both are very important. But Ebola being the unseen viral danger seems a bit more, important. Wait, what should people do at home before anything else? Before anything else, what do you advise that people who won't see anybody who has any fever at all, what should they be doing?
Yes, apart from the fact that I've enumerated the symptoms to watch out for.
Yes.
Apart from those, maybe I should quickly mention some of them again. I'm talking of a kind of a sudden onset of fever. There could be headache, there could be sore throat, cough. Then comes sometimes with muscle pains, with joint pains. You know, like Chinedu was saying, they so much seem so similar to the other common ailments we see every day. But these things graduate sometimes to vomiting, diarrhea. Then when you begin to see some abnormal bleeding, for instance, you cut yourself by mistake and you see that the bleeding begins, like kind of that's
not stopping.
That's getting to an advanced stage already. Wow. That's what we call it disseminated DIC now, intravascular coagulopathy. In that case, that means the normal clotting that we have naturally in the body does not occur anymore. So any little bleeding flows through any hole in the body. That's you see, like from the private part, from any hole, from the ears, from the mouth, from the nose, you see blood want to flow through. So it's like, that's why it's so deadly. So people should watch out. And if you ever happen to witness somebody dying, that nature, is for you not to even touch the body, to raise alarm, run to the nearest qualified medical practitioner who will also identify and link you up with the epidemiology center, and then we have to raise the alarm then that we now have this thing here. I'm praying we don't have it, but all of us should just be as watchful as this. Ebola virus is more deadly than HIV virus. Wow. One could pick HIV virus and live for the next 10-15 years before you even get to know, unless you screen yourself regularly. The Ebola virus, I said 13 to 25 days incubation period is over and begins to manifest and doesn't give all this long period of time. It's an acute thing. When we say acute, short period.
Two questions. One is, don't touch, you said.
Yes.
So if anybody sees anybody bleeding from any part of the body, you can't touch.
Well, it depends on the type of bleeding. For instance, if somebody is involved in an accident, I will rush there to help. I won't be scared by that. I will only take what we call the universal precaution. Like not getting involved directly. I could wear something. Different from when I have to gadget up, mask up and everything. When it comes to Ebola, you go that far.
Now, the second question is, if you are in a situation where you don't know which doctor to call, you don't even know how to describe it,
go to the nearest health center.
Go
to the nearest private hospital. The private hospitals are all over the place. Whether you see them like good qualified or not, go to them and raise the alarm.
What kind of lifestyle should we be living?
Yes, that's the area where I think we should also be promoting personal hygiene. Very, very important.
Personal hygiene.
Fruits and other things we pick on, we must wash very well.
Before we put our mouth into it, yes.
We must wash very well.
Even the ones bought from the market.
Yes, bought from the market. We must wash. And then we should also not forget, this is a part of the world where a lot of people, I'm sure including my big brother, SONI IRABOR, we like bushmeat. That is a good reservoir, especially bats. And coincidentally,
I'll go on holiday.
my wife likes farming. She's put some plantain, just behind my window, and bats began to settle there. Since this thing started early this year, I've had to start doing something about that, because the bats, especially, they are notorious as being reservoirs for carriers for the Ebola virus. So a bite from them could mean death.
Ooh.
And then the fatality rating so bad. Initially, when it started in the West African coast, people were talking about 65% or more, but the statistics now has gone as far as 90% of the cases. 90%. Though there are some other things that are also adding to the figure. Like you find out that some cultural things, somebody dies there, there's a way they must bury the person. Instead of handing over the body to medically trained people to take care of the body, they have to, still cuddle and all those. African society, they are dead one. Some they don't even let you know. So in the process of handling the body, they also contract it. Then some don't even believe that Ebola virus is Ebola virus. They think maybe you, as a medical person coming to help them, you are even the one bringing the thing. Oh my God. So all those things are adding to the fatality rate. Okay,
we're going to take another break now, and after that, we'll start taking calls. I want to make sure that all of you have a chance to ask your questions today.
No. Hey. There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is around. I wake up in the morning, tell you what I see on my TV screen. I see the blood of an innocent child, and everybody's watching. Now I'm looking out my window, and what do I see? I see an army of a soldier men marching across the street. Hey, Mr. Soldier Man, tomorrow is the day you go to war, but you are fighting for another man's cause. You don't even know him. Ooh, what did he say to make you so blind now to your conscience and your reason? Could it be love for your country, or for the gun you use in killing? So there is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is around. Hey, Mr. Loverman, can I get a chance to talk to you? 'Cause you are fooling with a dead man's cups. You don't know what you do. So you say you have a lover. Hey, you love her like no other. So you buy her a diamond that someone has died. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? Tell me, who's responsible for what we teach our children? Is it the internet or the stars on television? Why, oh, why, oh? So little Lucy turned 16, and like the movie she's been seeing, she has a lover in that daddy. She can't tell nobody till she makes the evening news. For there is fire on the mountain. God knows that nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is around. There is fire on the mountain. Fire, oh, fire, oh, nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, fire on the mountain top, and no one is around. One day the river will overflow, and there'll be nowhere for us to go, and we will run, wishing we had put out the fire. Oh God, there is fire on the mountain, yeah. Nobody seems to be on the run. Fire on the mountain top, and nobody's around. Everybody, fire on the mountain. Fire, nobody seems to be on the run. Fire on the mountain top. There is fire on the mountain. God knows there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is on.
This is SONI IRABOR Live. We're discussing the viral disease called Ebola. So, yes, doctor, you are the one on the hot seat. All the numbers are free. But doctor, how can we say that Nigeria is a sanitarily conscious country? That means, are we health conscious? We've had cases of cholera before. In fact, even in recent time, I think we had cholera as well. And with all these problems, avoidable problems, just, attacking or rearing their faces or their heads, ugly heads in our country, what are we going to do? Well, we talked about personal hygiene.
Yeah, to Let's start with, I don't think we are there yet. Talking about sanitarily, we're not yet there.
Okay.
The level of sanitation still needs to be, much better than what we have today. And this, by the time you do what, in medicine we talk about prevention being better than cure. That we do we observe a lot of sanitary, good habits, find out that a lot of illnesses will be taken care of. Without our having to deploy, the millions and billions of naira, into treatment.
Okay.
So I don't think we're there yet. We still need to, beef up.
Okay. Chinedu, do you believe what he just said? Now, messages are coming in. I'm going to read it in a moment. But let me ask you this question. Do you believe that Nigerians will really believe what we're saying? And will they take us seriously?
I think the average Nigerian is perhaps one would say a bit fatigued.
Fatigued about what?
By so many problems, So people have become so cynical, and also this denial mode that you talked about, maybe as a way of coping with the numerous problems around. But I think this is the essence of this awareness, enlightenment campaign. That's what it will serve to do, to let people know that this danger is around us, and to take measures, appropriate proactive measures.
Okay.
Maybe hand washing, and maybe if you've been out, you shook people's hands in public. When you get home, first thing, wash your hands just with soap and water, something as basic as that.
Well, some people will now tell you, doctor is laughing, because some people will tell you, I never see water drink or cook food. Now you got to make a wash hand.
Everybody is grabbing corn on the road.
That's true.
You need to wash your hands, and it's really very important.
That corn and then the pear, the black thing. That's
just grab the
pear,
thing
right?
on the road and stop. Even you see some big guys, just pack and.
I'm getting scared, though. Well, sorry, I didn't mean it that way, so don't take me that seriously. Dear Uncle Sonny, please, are the people in government taking the issue of Ebola serious? Are our airports and entry ports, border posts, do they have quarantine section where they can screen people from Guinea, from Sierra Leone, and from Liberia? Please, they should not misplace this as politics, but a matter of urgency. This is a very good contribution. It's from Idowu. Okay, I can see you nodding, so I can go to the next message.
Yes,
okay.
I agree with.
And then thanks, Uncle Sonny, for this educative program. Has there been any officially reported case in Nigeria? Tom. Okay. Said no. Doctor says no. And I'm just hearing of this for the first time. Where is the origin? Is it already in Nigeria? Another one, Tim.
No, not yet in Nigeria. And it used to be known to be in Central Africa. Okay. Just of recent, it got into Western Africa through those 3 countries.
Okay. All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. I'm calling from Prayer City. This is Oladipupo.
Oladipupo. Where are you calling from, please, again?
Prayer City.
Prayer City.
Yeah, Moeba for Lagos Ibadan.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Please. What are the health professionals do towards researching of like antibiotics for in case you suspect it, like almost like what they say, if symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. Like if you have a mild headache, you have the paracetamol. If you have such an infection, why is it that it's taking this long for them to culture a vaccine that can suppress it, number one? Then number two, what are our medical professionals doing towards winning or regaining the trust of we, the health consumers? Because as you can see, the emphasis now is on medical tourism. Yes. Even when outside Nigeria they get the diagnosis wrong, people see the marketing of the Western world compared to the quality of Nigeria, not knowing that it's our Nigerian doctors that are over there. Some of them are indigenous that left because of one reason or the other. So we are looking at orientation. Like when I was young, there was all these first aid save lives, all these road safety programs that were on the national network, whereby telling you about hygiene, health science, wash your hands, even chorusing it as a nursery rhyme, so that the children even caution their parents.
Do you remember the song, by the way? Do you remember the nursery rhyme?
You can imagine. You can help me out. So these are things that, look at it, the local government, everywhere, they're all about politics and not about managing human health. You understand? Whereby free gloves, free checkups should be made, that if you suspect, just come in for a free blood test, things like that. Humanitarian thing, I don't know. It's
that's a good challenge, really, because you're also telling the medical doctors and hospitals that they should also make themselves amenable to such humanitarian efforts. But Dr. Kayode has already said so much about that. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, doctor.
Yeah, like the last caller was mentioning vaccination, antibiotics. First of all, we must know something. Even we, the doctors, we dread anything viral. That is why HIV has been able to carry on this way. It's a viral disease. We have other forms of viral diseases, even the one that leads to the cervical cancer we have in women. It's taking so many of our women. Then we talk about so many of them, the hepatitis. So viral disease is something that's defiled our effort so much. So it's a problem. So here again we are talking of another deadly virus. This is Ebola virus now. So antibiotics don't touch them at all. Antibiotics are for the bacterial organisms. Those ones we know we can handle very, very well to a very large extent. But when it comes to viruses, most of the time it's more or less like the doctor wishing you well, supporting you. Where you have headache, we try to give something for that. Where you are having diarrhea, we try to make sure you don't get dehydrated and die through that. Where you're vomiting, try to stop the vomiting. But we're not going to the root cause in terms of viral events like this. Unlike bacteria, when we have something like Klebsiella, for instance, I go for the specific antibiotic that will kill the Klebsiella instead of the symptoms. By the time you kill what is causing whatever, all the things being caused, they will disappear. But in viral problems like this, a problem. Then when we talk about it, I think it's something all of us must work towards. This enlightenment campaign and advocacy and all the rest of them. And like many of us have been saying, our budget in this country towards the health sector is damn too poor. We know how much we are pushing into the military, even when there was no Boko Haram, no problem in this country. It was a sustained big budget. If by the time we become more, I don't want to use the word reasonable in the way we handle our things, we begin to prioritize things in this country. And there are certain areas that should be sacrosanct, should not bring in politics when we're talking about the health.
Because health is wealth.
Citizen, yes.
Yes.
I was lucky to have met Chief Gani Fayemi shortly before he died. After he became confirmed as a cancer patient, he was saying it then, and he quoted the part of the law that says the health of the citizen of this country is the #1 priority of the government. But what do we have? Even when you vote in money, the money before it gets to the people that will actually actualize things, the money will have become, they will have balkanized the thing, and when they now give you what is there, it's not enough to do what you're supposed to do. We need discipline. We are paying for all these things, and that is why, like he rightly observed, you live here, you pay for transportation, flight and everything, you book accommodation there, only to open the door before you enter. Maybe you are paying a 50,000 naira for consultation, only to open the door and see your own brother from Nigeria here. I would rather prefer to be in Nigeria than be in America. I can go there visiting. That's all I love to do.
Okay, I'll take more calls now. Hello. Okay, that's gone. Hello. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon to everybody in the studio.
Good afternoon.
My name is Choma.
Hi, Choma. Go ahead.
Well, this is very interesting. This discussion for today is very interesting.
Thank you.
But at the same time, I tend to wonder how the, what's the word now? The typical Nigerian man or woman or boy or girl will know what to do. Because for me, enlightenment, education, awareness, it's a serious problem in this country. People just take things for granted. I heard you guys talking about hygiene, washing of hands, and doing this. I went to someone. I don't like hospitals because it's like a place that people don't even care about hygiene. If I go there, I'm always using hanky to touch the door. I don't sit down. If I'm in doctor's office, I don't do anything. I say I need to go home and go and
what would you say of the
myself.
doctor that is working from there? Is he going to die so soon or what?
Well, I don't know, but that's beside the point. But I just think it's a very interesting topic because we don't have to wait. Because one thing in Nigeria here is that we only wait until something happens, and when it happens, it's either too late or getting too late. So I think more awareness should be done, and that's going to be a problem because if you go around, men sit down and eat bushmeat. People sit down and drink it. They don't care. They say, that's blah, blah. They don't care. They see it as if it won't happen to me. And just do things and eat things they want to do, which is not fair. So the basic thing for me is just, I don't know how this awareness is going to be, whether it's for Ebola or for any other viral or non-viral disease, the case as may be.
Okay.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, my dear. Let me just also advise you that no matter the feeling you may have, and it's good to be, sanitation aware. It's good to be health conscious. It's good to be clean, but do not, I repeat, do not make it look like there's a crime somewhere. Okay? All right, let me take some more messages. Please, doctor, can you go over the symptoms of the disease again? How do we know which ailment is Ebola? This is Patrick from Ikorodu. Another message says, how does BAT and the bat and bushmeat, how do bat and bushmeat transmit the Ebola disease? That's from Joe. And how does one avoid the virus? And what too?
Now,
what did Chinedu say?
she was reminding me of
Pigs.
other,
The swines?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So how do they now, to start with, I think the first question was like the symptoms again.
Yes.
Yes. I said sudden onset of fever, talk about headache, I talked about cough, sore throat, talk about muscle pains, joint pains. Then sometimes graduate to person beginning to vomit, having diarrhea. Then we talked about the issue of bleeding. When you have abnormal bleeding tendencies, then you should be more careful. And these ones can graduate to things like liver failure, kidney failures, and all those, and everything begin to fail. And then the DIC thing, disseminated intravascular coagulopathy. That is when blood clotting ceases in the body. So any little initiation of bleeding, bleeding continues, and nobody can stop it.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Go ahead. Only the women are calling today. Go ahead. How are you?
I want to ask that because your first mention of not touching anybody who has anything else. How to actually case whether you have someone, somebody who cannot walk well or who is physically challenged, and you need to help carry such people to the hospital.
That's a good question.
What are the safety precautions that make it up? If he has gloves or something. And then, what other first aid can we administer in preventing before rush death to the hospital?
Okay, good question. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about a disease that's contacted through contact with the body fluid and all the rest of them. So if you have somebody, somebody that's helpless and you want to help, and you need to carry or touch one way or the other, then you have to access things like gloves. You know what the gloves are, the medical gloves. Because some of them are surgical, some are just disposable, whichever one, but make sure it's not just those cellophane that are so thin, because you don't want them to, you don't want viruses penetrating to affecting you as well. We rather want to have a case of Ebola virus patient than have two. So please, we don't even want it to spread at all. If you have to have somebody like that, then get something to wear.
Maybe it's advisable.
At the same time, you could also reach out to all the emergency numbers.
Okay, that's another one.
Another way, the ambulance will come. The ambulances will come. Those coming.
Can you help us with the emergency numbers, please?
One of them, the 979.
Okay, yeah, right. No, 767.
767.
And then 112. Yes, I remember that. Okay, and also maybe my own very layman's advice is. If you have access to gloves, especially the medical gloves that doctor was talking about, and I think I'm told now that they are available even at the shops and all that, you can actually buy them, put them in. They're not expensive. Exactly. Okay, and then another one says, how does bat and how does bushmeat transmit the Ebola disease? You already said bat was through biting.
Yes.
Okay.
They do, they bite. And also the swines, like she said, the pigs, and then through the consumption too. One can get the.
Oh, so if it's cooked, uncle?
Depends on level of cooking now.
Okay. Hi, thanks for bringing this topic today so that we can know what to do. Thank you, Mr. SONI from SONI Egwese Ekba, Lagos. Okay. All right. Now this is hello. Oops. All right. Sorry. Yes, let's just go on. We'll be taking another break very shortly. But I ask myself sometimes, what makes a very health conscious person, really? What is it? Can anybody tell me?
Yeah, you're talking about somebody that is health conscious. For instance, it's a universal law that once you're age 40, for instance, you should at least screen yourself once in a year. But in Nigeria, it's more or less like a taboo. You will see a man riding a car of 14 million and just to go to the hospital and say, okay, doctor, I'm not sick, but just run a check on me for maybe just 20,000, 25,000, or even less. They find it very difficult. Such a person cannot be talking of being health conscious. You find such a person at home trying to dash across the road to get paracetamol, move from paracetamol to antibiotics.
We'll just take a short break. Sorry about that.
and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope, it's the voice of peace, it's the voice of every man. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. And there are no guns, no bombs, and no disease, no hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments marching in a common plan, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They're the songs of every man. God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us from a distance. From a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting is for. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. And it's the hope of hopes, it's the love of loves, it's the heart of every man. It's the hope of hopes, it's the love of loves. This is the song of every man. And God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us from a distance. Oh, God is watching us, God is watching, God is watching us from a distance.
But they always say heaven helps those who help themselves, and we're discussing Ebola virus. Ebola. Oh my God, I'm so confused. Ebola virus. And I said Ebola virus. God forgive me. Now, it's already registered in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. May it not get here, we keep saying. But we need to be prepared. And we've told you symptoms to look out for. But again, you need to also be personally clean. So don't forget all of these things. Some guys are shy to tell a girl that they don't have any disease. Instead, they won't reply, or whatever that means. But I'm sure it's all about consciousness of health. Another third person says, I saw the picture of Ebola victims on TV. This led the authorities to print out these and circulate them to advocacy, education, and other departments. This is from Pius. And somebody also talked about people who are aboard a ship being the source sometimes, depending on which ports they've stopped. And the other person says, thank you, you're doing a good job. Another question is, what are the authorities doing about inflow and outflow of human beings to and from affected countries? Now, Doctor.
Yeah, actually, like I mentioned earlier on, I just said all the ministers of Earth, the West African countries, met this last week, from Wednesday till Friday in Ghana. And the main thing that brought them together is this, the threat from the Ebola virus. Okay. So they met, and there are some strategies that are already mapped out. Even within those countries that are already affected, there are things like roadblock. Because what was discovered was that people began to run away from the areas that were initially affected.
So they now quarantining them.
Yes, they now mounted roadblocks, and then every person trying to pass through that road, they stop them and try to screen them before they allow them to join the rest of the country. So efforts are on, and I believe by now our airports and other ports of entry into the country are being watched.
But how do you know somebody who's carrying it?
The danger is when you are still at the early phase, the incubation period. You look very much like any other person.
Because there's no vaccine against it yet, is there?
So there's the risk is there. You cannot deny that. But we now need to narrow down to say, if you are coming from Liberia, if you are coming from Guinea, if you are coming from Sierra Leone, then somebody that needs to be watched, at least for a period of time.
Okay. Thank you so much. And somebody is sending a text message worried about our phones not well. Sorry about that. We're going to make sure we change it. In fact, from the new week, I think from tomorrow thereabouts, there'll be more lines, and then there'll be free flow of calls that can be taken as at when due. So don't worry about that. And Chinedu, hi. What are you? Tell me. You're not a doctor, you said.
No, I'm not a doctor. I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
And also a mediator.
Mediator?
Yes.
What does a mediator do?
Well, mediation is all about alternative conflict resolution.
Okay.
You know, alternative to litigation and other, will I call it combative or methods. Okay. This is like a more providing a platform for more amicable settlement of
but you know, do you know you have indirectly extended your profession to health law as well?
Oh, well.
Through consciousness, because this awareness creation all credited to you, which is why I begged you to come to the studio and you came almost reluctantly. But I really must thank you for all of that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And Dr. Kaide Adeshola, God bless you. You have been a fantastic man. Sometimes I really, when I see people like the two of you, I know there's hope for this country, that we really can do work that is not necessarily our major concern. But the fact is, we are helping. We're, as we say, be your brother's keeper. And so we'll continue to do that. What message do you have for the layman outside, Chinedu?
Well, I think people should be careful. Like we said earlier, wash your hands. All common surface areas where people touch, like doorknobs, public, maybe spaces within the home where there's a lot of traffic. You keep such areas very clean. The doorknobs, you try to, wipe them from time to time, and just general consciousness. Okay. And I also understand that even after, perhaps for those at the early stages that have been, maybe they've been able to stop the virus from spreading, I understand that the virus still remains dormant for a period of time, as long as 21 days.
So that means the infection can still continue.
They are still able to infect, even though they have recovered to all intents and purposes. So we should all just be careful.
Okay. And then, Doctor, final word?
Yes, I think we should be more aware. The personal hygiene thing is key in every situation, just like Chinedu has just highlighted. It's very, very important. The important thing is to prevent yourself from contacting, not when it has come, you start praying and doing other things. So I believe, and the government, I'm sure, will try and step up again this awareness campaign. I'm sure some of the authorities are listening to this, and they will know that yes, this is something, a very bad thing knocking on our door. I think we have enough problems in this country already. Yeah. I don't want to add this to our load of trouble in this country. So I just pray this will be another wake-up call for them to, gear up the efforts.
Thank you so very much, the two of you, for honoring our invitation and sensitizing the public about this deadly disease. And we pray and hope that it will not get here. We also pray and hope that come what may, we will be ready to deal with it successfully.